our series Pattern of the Month. And today it's a special day for us yesterday was because we are now launching our first own series of rods, and I can't help showing you just proud as hell fishing these what I was going to say 2 years, but samples 2 years and last samples this season. And oh, here we go, 6-piece travel rods, little special design with the classic red butt that the old pain rods and also the old harder rods had. And we do them in 4 different lengths. There's a 15, a 14, and a 12/6 and a 10/8, which is all I think we need. And now I ask Ludde to take these, because otherwise I'm mixing up everything here. And for those of you following us, you've seen that we did our Sailor reels earlier, and now we built this really neat combo, I think. Short-handled, cigar-shaped, where you can slide your hand out on the blank while you fish like this. And latest technology, best factory in the world, and shouldn't swear, but I'm bloody proud of this, and they work really, really good. So those who are interested, check our web and you'll find this stuff over there. Okay, so I tend to show you something new every film, or almost every film. So this time it was obvious to do something away from the tying, but rods and reels now too. Okay, so today we're gonna tie a fly that actually originates from a really good friend of mine, Kolya Blikin. Kolya is top guide, head guide on the Karlovka in the ASR in Russia. We fished together some 20 years, and he always kept on telling me that he wanted to have that black and yellow fly. So 1 year before I went up, I tied up a black and yellow fly. It didn't have a name, but it, for me, being a classic salmon fly tire, it's pretty obvious that it needed to be connected with the most classic fly of them all, the Jock Scott. I have a few classic flies right here, and I think they are magnificent, and I collect classics. The bigger the better, and here are an old fly with maybe 150 years on it, Dusty Miller, one of my favorites, Nicholson, really cool pattern and a tricky fly to tie. And then the most classic of them all, the Jock Scott. And Jock Scott is a fly where the back part is yellow and the front part is black, and then it got a mixed wing. And doing this pattern of mine, the black and yellow fly that I'm gonna tie today, I couldn't really name it Jock Scott, but I call it Scott. So today I'm gonna tie Scott, and when you see this, you know we're in the middle of the salmon season, and it's been an extremely warm summer. Some rivers being closed already, and up in the north it's better, but it's been a warm summer with a lot of low water. And the way I fish things, let's see here, is I'm moving more and more over to doing the what I call the 3 wallet system. This is kind of messy, it's my fishing wallets coming out of my vest, not even dry. And I fish one with a TTTs, and I fish one with BTTs, and then I have a wallet with bodies. And here I have dressed bodies and bare tubes, and I can this way adjust the way I fish in what I think a very, very effective way. And is there any difference? I mean, if you fish a medium TTT or a medium BTT, what's the actual difference? In weight, there's quite a bit of difference. You can feel, here we go, you can feel the TTT, and the BTT is super light. Actually, a BTT is lighter than a regular plastic, meaning that what I can do is that I can change. Coming into the top part of a pool, I can fish a TTT. When the water slows down, I can go over to the BTT, and in the tail where the faster water and I don't want the fly to skate, maybe if I'm on a floater, or I want it to skate, but then I can again change over to the TTT. And this to me is a really effective way. And I would say that at least in a medium pace water, the difference between a BTT, the brass turbo tube, or the TTT, the tungsten turbo tube, is about 40-50 centimeter in depth, which when it comes to fishing tactics is one hell of a difference. So a little bit on that and how to adapt these BTTs and TTTs to a hook and a tube. I'm gonna end up this little tying session showing you that. So I was going to say all our mailboxes, we have several mailboxes, but my mailbox it's flooded with questions on how to fish the loose bodies and how to attach the hook. And I'm just going to show you when we're ready with this tying. So here we go. We're going to tie a Scott on a BTT, meaning we're going to tie a summer fly or a fly that you can fish really high up, or you can fish on a heavy sinker down where there's not much speed on the water. So let's see where we have things here now. It's a bit messy, but we'll find so many things I'm going to show you here today. These are TTTs and we have our BTTs somewhere. Where are we going to do? Here we go. So I'm going to start with the medium size. I fish these pattern pretty small too, but since it's easier for you to see what I do, I'm going to do this on the medium size. And I start by cutting an angle on the extra small. See if I have a lighter here that works. A little bit black and gold on the lighter works for this fly. And I start by just melting this, creating a little edge here. Wait a little. And I put the BTT onto the extra small and pull it through. So you can see that this little edge will make it stay. Then I'm going to tie with a 12-0 black thread today, and I tie almost all my flies with the 12-0. Just putting the thread on, and here, since there's no edge here like it is on the TTTs, on the BTTs, I take just a little bit of glue and just put a little bit of glue over the thread so it does not slip off the metal. It's kind of slippery actually. So a little bit of glue on the thread and it will stay. Okay, so then we go on with a body feather here, like a little hen hackle actually, and I'm using a whiting one that is speckled and dyed yellow, take the feather and keep the softest part, and I tie it in. And this way what I'm doing is I tie in the hackle under the wing and divide it. You could, of course, like I do on some patterns, you can tie the wing and tie all the hackles in front. I do this, and then I use support and I create a little triangle, and it's the little triangle that I then tie in, and I tie it in underneath on the BTT. Take this hackle, 3 fingers, double back, meaning I hold back the fibers on the part I'm tying in, so all the fibers come one side. Do 1, 2 or 3 turns, sorry, depending on how much I want. Make sure it doubles really good. I don't think the fish will care, but if you're a picky fly tyer, you will care for sure. And I tie it in, cut it off. If I have 1 or 2 strands, I can just hold them back. Then I divide this. I can do it with my scissors. Just divide the hackles on top, pull them down, put the finger on, pull them down, and work with the thread instead this way. I tilt it a little bit like this and tie this in only on top of the BTT. That way I divide it and I get hackle on like 3/4 of the tube. Okay, so then it's time to put the wing on, and I start with a little bit of Angel Hair HD, and I work with the yellow. I'm going to do both yellow and green. I do what we call hot magma yellow, having very strongly fluorescent fibers in it. Take a few, just tie it in, work on top of the BTT, double back, spread it, and tie in. Make sure it's wide, and then I cut and taper. I can do that a couple of times if I want. If there's 1 or 2 too long, I can take them off afterwards. This is a quite simple fly actually, and what I do now, I just take a little bit of yellow, and it's a black and yellow fly, and instead of the Jock Scott, which have black and yellow body, I work with black and yellow in the wing. And I would say that the wing is the most important thing on a fly. It's the wing that actually fishes, mostly fishes. Brush it through with my brush, and then look at this, and you can see there's a couple of ugly ones. I can take those away. And then I move my fingers up halfway, and I pull the center strands to taper, so I can see that I get a really smooth, nice taper. And make sure not to make this first wing too long. Tie it in, and you can see it's wide, about 1 centimeter. And tie it in, put it in on top, put the finger on, make sure it's wide. The fish does not see this movement, they see this, right? And then I tie it in. And again, I'm still on top of the BTT, on the metal part. Look, so it's wide, and then I cut this off. And I don't need to be super accurate here, because I'm going to work my way forward. And I'm going to cover that up with the rest of the materials. Okay, so then we put on a little bit of angel hair, and I used the Greenland, hot Greenland, the green one. This is also got some of the really strong fluorescent fibers in it, and make sure I have enough and not too many. If I think I have too many, I can just pull them out. And you know, you tie with angel hair, you know, these will pop up everywhere. I was going to say something dirty here, but you'll find angel hair in your bed and your toothbrush and all over. It's pretty terrible that way, but it's a fantastic material when it comes to give a little bit of sparkle to the fly. Pull, taper, make sure I get uneven length of this, and looks okay. And about half the wing should be yellow and half should be black. Find a piece of hair that is significantly longer than the yellow, both because I want to taper the wing, but also because I need it to taper the bunch of hair. Brush it through. It's a little too much. And you can see this is really ugly because it's just straight like this, and I need the length to be able to take this and pull it out. You see what I do? Make some longer strands, and the more I pull, the more taper I get, and the better the fly will swim. Take this, tie it in on top, also wide like that. This is gonna be like a medium-sized fly. For me, medium. Here we go. This can be the thing with the BTT, that sometimes that thread wants to come down on the tubing before you want it to come down, and I have to be a little brutal maybe. Take it, pull it, feel the wing, see, so I have a nice taper, oh sorry, and then I cut it off. I think maybe I have a few strands that's been, because I was a little, had to be a little brutal on this. I think maybe I have a couple of strands that was sliding down, but it looks okay. Then I do it like this. I take a little bit of glue, use support, and I put a little glue right on where I tied this in. And that will change this from being the weakest part to be the strongest part of the fly. To add just a little more sparkle and a little bit more color that will go together with the peacock I'm tying in, I'll take a couple of nasty rusty angel hair. Few. I think I only have 3 here, which will be absolutely enough. 1 turn, double back, tie in, and taper. I've seen in a couple of the films that there's been some flash hanging down your side, so now I will try to check it. Normally I twist it, I can't do that, then I will ruin everything for you. Okay, so jungle cocks, I will use 2 fairly small feathers, and I've said it in almost all the films, or I think I've said it in all the films, that you need to have the cyclist and do this legal way. And I also get quite a few questions on where to buy legal jungle cock today. And the supplier I had stopped, and I can't really help you there right now. There are small breeders, different parts of the world, and you have to be a bit lucky maybe to find one that can supply you. Jungle cocks. This is also a little trick where I form the jungle cock over my thumbnail, and this is mechanically shaped feather that will follow the wing and it will look a lot nicer. Tie it in fairly long and always start with the feather on my side here. It's just because I have better control of what I do here. Then I take the other one, do the same, curve it, form it, make it follow, and tie it in. And instead of twisting this, I move my head a little bit over to your side here. Now we'll see. Looks pretty nice. Then I can pull out this and cut it off. And now this little simple fly is almost ready. What I do here now is I end up by putting, I think I had one here, I tied one here before. I put a little soft tackle in front of this, and this is a super soft feather that will give a lot of motion to the fly. And I take away the softest part and I always tie it in the tip. And here you can do longer fibers, very few, to make it more like a spay fly. Create that little triangle there again, and I tie it in. And now I can also say that our tools that are not here yet, the cutter and the plier and these, they are very close now. I'm positive that next film we do, you will find that you can get these on our web. And I tie this in, and one good thing with this plier of ours, hackle plier of ours, is that it's heavy. Meaning that I can tie this in and I can leave it there and I can do different things and the tension will still be there. Tie it in. You can see even that I pull it, nothing happens because this is heavy and solid. And I doubled that back too, the way I did before. Little bit of soft tackle that will create good movement in this fly too. Okay, so we're gonna end this up with metallic yellow micro turbo cone, and I just slide it onto the excess, and then I take a little bit of glue, put it a bit away from the soft tackles, and you can put it on the thread too, but I think this is pretty good. And then I pick up glue, and that way this is not gonna just be sucked into the soft tackles and destroy the fly. And then as you just press this down, and the easiest way of doing this is to take the fly out of the vise when you do it. And sometimes I use a little plier and just pull it down. But I pull it down, cut it off, always use support so I don't destroy this. And then use this black and yellow fly. I should have had the black and yellow. There's some gold and black. That would be fine, right? And here I just melt this down. And this little effective super light fly is ready. The BTT opens up, gives this fly this wide profile. The water will hit it, it can't collapse, it will create its own turbulent stream, and it will swim a lot better than just tied on a hook or on a slim tube. So that was it. And how to attach this now, and how do I do this? And since I've been talking so much now and you've been watching me tying all these bodies through this little series, I'm not going to do it now. Instead I'm going to try to show you how I attach it and how I do this. And first of all, we need a hook box. I thought I had a hook box. Here we go. I fish a lot of tiny trebles with micro barbs, and there's also always a discussion what is worst and what is good. And I would say that it's more the size of the barb. A debarbed hook, a small treble debarbed, does less harm than a bigger single. So this here you have to rely on what you think yourself. But this, I'm convinced of this. So, and now I'm going to show you something. Here we have a few things. I'm going to show you something that we are working on. That's not out yet. And it's like a little silicone plastic. This is how I keep them in my vest, which is not very neat maybe, but it's very good. I have different colors of this, and the way I do it is let's connect this first, see if we can do this. What should we take? We can do I didn't have the right colors there, but it doesn't really matter. Let's do the fly we just tied. And what I do is I take the fly, see if I see something here. You have all the light. Here we go. He's getting old, you know. Up. Bloody old, I think. Slide this on. Put on the body, and on the Scott here, I make a body on a yellow Fitz tubing. Put a little mirage, a little bit of silver braid, and I dub it. And on these smaller bodies, I used to dub with the dubbing instead of our glitz. Glitz is a long fiber that is it's made only on flashy materials. Our dubbing is built on a very translucent fiber, and it's a little shorter, and you get a little neater body. Okay, so let's see, how big should we do? I'll do a 13 on this, and what I do, I tie this on. I made this so short, so I have to hold it. Tie it on, regular way. I'm not gonna do the 8 turns that you need, because doesn't really matter here. I tie that on, and I cut it off, and this way I will slide down the tube, and I will attach this to the hook. And even if I want to fish this so translucent without the body, I always use a plastic. And I'm going to show you the one I had before that goes with the very, very small hooks. And the reason is that if you look at this, the knot will be there, but maybe first back cast the knot will be there, and the hook will be like this. You want to fix the hook with the tubing, so the tubing slides over the knot and it's attached, and it will always fish in a straight good wake like this. And then the BTT or the TTT will slide down, and what we have is what will look like almost like a regular tube. And if you look at how this looks now, you will see how I can change this by only doing this. I will take this away. I'll take it away, and I do take the body away, and instead I will take I didn't have an orange yellow one with me here, but I'll take this little plastic that is extremely translucent, very thin, and I'll use that to steer. You have all the light. I don't have any light. I don't see shit here. You should say in my speeches that you should be able to do the knots without watching, because you should be able to do this change in the pitch dark when your flashlight battery is gone. Okay, so now it looks like this instead. And what I do is I just stretch this plastic and make this plastic just slip over the eye of the hook. And this is super soft and it's super thin, and I will get a fly, even if it's the same fly, it has half the volume. And this is what I do if you look in my wallets, there are plastics and there are these super thin plastics, but I also use a lot of medium fits. And then there are, and these are in different lengths. And then there are dressed bodies, some of them heavily dressed. There are bodies with just a bit of dubbing, some with tails, some without tails. And this way I can not only change from the TTT to the BTT, but I can also change from the dressed body to the extremely thin steering tube to change my fly. And I like the way I do this. I like to be flexible in my fishing, and I turn very flexible, I think, by having the different weights, but I also have the different bodies to make me think I fish the absolutely best fly every time I go through a pool. Yeah, a lot of talk. So I hope those of you asking me about how I attach and how I do this understand that what I do, I use these dressed ones, and I do the bare one tube, and also this very thin one that we will hopefully present to you very shortly. And now also, if you look on our web, we also sell the bodies like this. We didn't used to do that. And also now, if you buy the flies, you will see there's a piece of medium fits tubing inside all the packs, just to make it easier for you. And well, this is how it looks. Different BTTs and TTTs, and among them you'll find what I just tied, a Scott. And if we look at it, are they similar? I would say not one bit. But this is a really good looking fly. This is an extremely effective fishing fly, but what they have in common is the black and yellow. So Scott, my version of or my version on the black and yellow theme, maybe. I think that's all, or maybe I should say something about this too. As before, We do packs for those of you who want to try fishing. See, the plastic tubes are in there. 6 flies, and we do a pack for those who want to tie this, and it's this time it's a simple fly, but there's quite a lot of material in there, so I hope you will find it with good quality, and thank you all for or many of you just saying that to us, that our materials are of good quality. Are we ready? Take the sailor rod, S2. 20 years ago I made it first time. First reels we made, and go out and catch yourself a fish on the Scott fly. Thank you very much for watching, and as I usually say, next month we're gonna try something completely different. Have a good season.